are going to discuss data. The word data covers the collection of facts stored in the database because data are the raw material from which information is generated. The determination of what data are to be entered into the database and how that data to be organized is a vital part of the database designer's job. Data in the context of databases refers to all the single items that are stored in a database, either individually or as a set. Data in a database is primarily stored in database tables, which are organized into columns that dictate the data types stored therein. So, if the customer's table has a column titled telephone number, whose data is defined as number, then only numbers can be stored in that column. Data even in a database is rarely useful in its raw form. For example, in a banking application, data is the whole collection of bank account numbers, a bank customer's name, addresses, and ages, bank transactions, and so on. Being presented with this mass of numbers will simply overwhelm the average human. An individual simply cannot process it all. However, when data is arranged relationally, it then becomes information which is much more useful to users. For example, if the mass of numbers stored in the banking database above is used to extract the names and addresses of the top 100 clients by size of deposits, then the data has been used to provide useful information. Data are units of information, often numeric, that are collected through observation. In a more technical sense, data are a set of values of qualitative or quantitative variables about one or more persons or objects, while a data is a single value of a single variable. Although the terms data and information are often used interchangeably, these terms have distinct meanings in some popular publications. Data are sometimes said to be transformed into information when they are viewed in context or in post-analysis. However, in academic treatments of the subject data are simply units of information. Data are used in scientific research, business management, example, sales data, revenues, profits, stock price, finance, governance, that is crime rates, unemployment rates, literacy rates, and in virtually every other form of human organizational activity. Example, census of the numbers of homeless people by non-profit organization. Data are measured, collected, and reported and analyzed, and from data visualization such as graphs, tables, or images are produced. Data as a general concept refers to the fact that some existing information or knowledge is represented or coded in some form suitable for better usage or processing. Raw data is a collection of numbers or characters before it has been cleaned and corrected by researchers. Raw data needs to be corrected to remove outliers or obvious instruments or data entry errors. Example, a thermometer reading from an outdoor Arctic location, reading from an outdoor Arctic location, reading a tropical temperature. Data processing commonly occurs by stages, and the processed data from one stage may be considered the raw data of the next stage. Field data is raw data that is collected in an uncontrolled in situ environment. Experimental data is data that is generated within the context of a scientific investigation by observation and reading. Data has been described as the new aisle of the digital economy. Next, people or users on the basis of primary job functions. 5 types of users can be identified in a database system. Number 1, system administrators. They overview the database system's general operations. Next, number 2, database administrators. DBA manages the Rdbms and ensures that the database is functioning properly. The DBA role is sufficiently important in database administration and security. Next, third one, database designers. They design the database structure. They are in effect the database architects. If the database design is poor, even the best application programmers and the DBA cannot produce a useful database environment. Next, fourth one, system analysts and programmers. They design and implement the application programs. They overview the database system general. System analysts and programmers. They design and implement the application programs. They design and create the data entry screens, reports, and procedures through which end users access and manipulate the database's data. Next, fifth one, end users. They are the people who use the application programs to run the organization's daily operations. For example, clerks, supervisors, managers, etc. First, we take system administrators. Both the system administrators and database administrators work with computers and network. However, system administrators oversee the operations of entire networks, while database administrators are use specialized software on those networks for the collection and analysis of data. The similarities and differences between these two positions are described here. The headings are job title, education requirements, media salary, job growth, system administrators, bachelor's degree, salary in dollars 82,050, job growth 5%, database administrators, bachelor degree, dollars 90,770, 9%. Next one is third one. Database designers. Database design is the organization of data according to a database model. The designer determines what data must be stored and how the data elements interrelate. With this information, they can begin to fit the data to the database model. Database management system manages the data accordingly. The designer determines what data must be stored and how the data elements interrelate. With this information, they can begin to fit the data to the database model. Database management system manages the data accordingly. Database design involves classifying data and identifying interrelationships. This theoretical representation of the data is called an ontology. The ontology is the theory behind the database design. Next, fourth one is system analysis and programmers. System analysis and programmers. System analysis and programmers. System analysts determine the requirements of the database users, especially native users, to create a solution for their business need and focus on non-technical and technical aspects. The database application programmer develops an application program to facilitate easy data access for the database user. System analysts determine the requirement of the database users to create a solution for their business need and focus on non-technical and technical aspects. The non-technical aspects involve defining system requirements, facilitating interaction between business users and technical staff, etc. Technical aspects involve developing the application for the user interface application programs. Application programmers are computer professionals who implement the specifications given by the system analysts and develop application programs. They can choose tools such as Rapid Application Development (RAD) to develop the application program with minimal effort. The database application programmer develops an application program to facilitate easy data access for the database users. A system analyst, also known as business technology analyst, is an information technology, that is IT, professional who specializes in analyzing, designing, and implementing information systems. System analysts assess the suitability of information systems in terms of their intended outcomes and lies with end users, software vendors, and programmers in order to achieve these outcomes. A system analyst is a person who uses analysis and design techniques to solve business problems using information technology. System analysts may serve as change agents who identify the organizational improvements needed, design systems to implement those changes, and train and motivate others to use these systems. Although they may be familiar with a variety of programming languages, operating system, and computer hardware platforms, they do not normally involve themselves in the actual hardware or software development. They may be responsible for developing cost analysis, design considerations, staff impact, and implementation timelines. A system analyst is typically confined to an assigned or given system and will often work in conjunction with a business analyst. These roles, although having some overlap, the business need and identify the appropriate solution and to some degree design a solution without divining too deep into its technical components, relying instead on a system analyst to do so on. A system analyst will often evaluate and modify code as well as review scripting. Some dedicated professionals possess practical knowledge in both areas, that is business and system analysis, and manage to successfully combine both of these occupations, effectively blurring the line between business analyst and system analyst. Next one is end users. End users are those who access the database from the terminal end. They use the developed applications and they don't have any knowledge about the design and working of database. These are the second class of users and their main motto is just to get their task done. End user is a person who ultimately uses or is intended to ultimately use a product. The end user stands in contrast to users who support or maintain the product, such as CSOPs, system administrators, database administrators, information technology experts, software professionals, and computer technicians. End users typically do not possess the technical understanding or skill of the product designers, a fact easily overlooked and forgotten by designers, leading to features creating low customer satisfaction in information technology. End users are not customers in the usual sense. They are typically employees of the customer. For example, if a large retail corporation buys a software package for its employees employees to use, even though the large retail corporation was the customer which purchased the software. The end users are the employees of the company who will use the software at work. Okay, thank you.